time when I speak English, especially when the sentences are too long, I get these typical facial expressions from my students telling me, "Teacher, what are you talking about? I don't understand." Or they just, shut down their brain and they refuse to listen to you. But that's okay. I try to give them English instructions every time when I conduct an activity. For example, okay, class. Now we're going to practice this sentence pattern, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You have to find a partner, anyone you like. You can move around the class. Then, when time is up, I'm going to call some of you to stand up and share your idea with us. Things like that. So we usually call that classroom language, right? And then encouraging students to guess the meaning, and conduct activities. Basically, it's all the same when I teach this special class. So I try to speak more English in ordinary English class. Okay. My reflection, first of all, when I was in Australia, one thing I have learned very important is that they conducted every class in such an interactive way. So we were grouped, we were grouped, and every time we had to participate in the discussion, and we really have to pay attention in class, because at the end of the class, you don't know when the teacher will call you, and you have to stand up and share your idea. How do you teach listening? How do you teach writing? So when I were taking those classes, I have to take notes. I have to come up with a simple lesson plan in case I was called. So this is very important. In Taiwan, English is a subject. Students learn English because they want to test into better senior high school. They don't want to use English outside of the classroom. So that's the problem. So I try to do this. I try to fix this problem, but it proved that I was too naive. They pretend, or I don't know, they couldn't speak English. But can we blame them for that? Actually, we didn't give them enough opportunities in class to apply what they have learned from us, from textbooks. Okay, so it's very teacher-centered, and it's very time-consuming, especially when you ask a question and you call on someone. You have to wait for such a long time for him or for her to begin yes or no. And then it is impossible to replay regular English class. As mentioned before, you get pressure from the parents, from the school. But with my class, this is for students' extracurricular activity. I don't have to care about that. Okay, so I also encourage teachers that you can try something new, something innovative in your extracurricular activity, or right after the midterm ends. And then it is difficult to evaluate teaching efficiency, because sometimes I'm thinking, I just play a lot of interesting video clips, and students come to my class, and after that, I'm not sure what they have learned, because some of them are laughing with others, and some of them they just give you the look, big question mark on their faces. So it's very difficult to evaluate teaching efficiency. So, is it really necessary for English teachers to speak English in English class? In Australia, this is not even a question. Of course, you are teaching the language English. Why shouldn't you? But in Taiwan, this is a big issue. First of all, we don't have to do that, because students don't have to rely on their listening competence or listening or speaking competence to go to better senior high school. So as time goes by and we don't have to speak English in class, eventually we teachers lose the ability to speak English in class. We are not confident enough to express ourselves in the class. So it is a problem. Then, as I told you a little before, even though you tried everything you could, even though you create a pressure-free environment to encourage your students to talk, but the reality is our students were too shy or they were too afraid of making mistakes. Okay, and then one of the other reasons I think we should speak English is that we can serve a good model for our students. Because I usually tell them that even I have been learning English for so many years. I make mistakes, but that's okay. If you don't make mistakes, if you don't really open up your mouth and speak some English, you'll never improve your spoken English. And number 4, I always complain about this, but it doesn't, help or it doesn't change. I really hope that after the abolishment of BCT, that we English teachers can really create a different learning environment, because we don't have to care about the test. We don't have to follow such a tight schedule, right? So the problem is the memorization of vocabulary and grammar rules seem to be the only concern for most English teachers in Taiwan. I try to ignore that, but we are all part of the system. So hopefully we can do something more for our students. And then, this is my humble opinion about how to improve ourselves. For listening, you can listen to Advanced Student Classroom, because I think it is a very good way to try to explain complicated English with simple English. And then you can always log on to BBC websites. You can watch CNN, and there are a lot of English-speaking video clips on YouTube. And I also downloaded, English novels, audiobooks. So after the classes, when I am in the teacher's office, I study those novels, and when I come back home, when I'm driving, I listen to audiobooks. It's very convenient. And how do we improve our speaking? Well, I think speaking, you cannot be taught, or you cannot, just grab any textbooks to teach yourself how to speak English unless you have someone to speak English with you. So for me, I have been practicing speaking English 101 online for the past 5 or 6 years already. So I really enjoy speaking English, and I try to use more English in my class. Okay, so then I'll wrap up my presentation with this news clip. I think everybody is quite get used to that. Nothing special. But please pay attention to those sentences that I highlighted. Everybody knows the problem, but we keep doing this. That includes me. So when I came back from Australia, I kind of frustrated for a very long time, because when I was there, I told myself, okay, when I go back to Taiwan, I want to do this, I want to do that. I can change this. But I am a teacher for the 9th graders, and my students have a very important test this year, the basic competence test. So, every day I do is, okay, class, memorize this, underline this. This is very important. So everything is back to, should I say normal? Yeah, everything is back to normal again. So I kind of forget what I have learned, what my ambition was when I was in Australia. But, well, with this class, I don't know how much my students have learned from me, but just like the professor has said, it is a start. I try to get my students, at least they can get a glimpse of what it's like to be able to express yourself in English. So let's hope that this can be our goal. We can work together. So I attended a lot of workshops and I grabbed ideas, useful ideas, innovative ideas from others, and I try to combine all of them. Or I try to incorporate some of the techniques that I have learned into my teaching. Only for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but that's okay. That's a start. Thank you for listening.
Are there questions? You are speaking, so there are no questions. Okay, well, I'd really like to thank you for staying with us until the very end. This is our last presentation for today, and we really appreciate it. And we really hope that you will have the opportunity maybe next year to join us, maybe become one of the presenters here, or continue to be participants to learn from our presenters. Whichever role is fine with us, but we do encourage that you keep updated with good practices and one small step at a time. We're not searching for the perfect answers, and I'm sure frustrations will continue to occur, and hopefully frustration will decrease as time goes, and with more workshops and more interaction among the professionals. Frustration can be slowly eliminated, and we all have that goal to work towards. All right? Thank you very much for coming.